Okay, simplify, add, subtract, multiply, divide. These are the steps that we're going to use to solve some equations. Okay, the first one, -5 rho plus 4 equals 19. Remember the steps. Simplify first, add the addition property of equality, and then the multiplication property of equality. So first for simplify, we want to look at each side separately. Okay, can we add any like terms, distribute anything? No, they're both simplified already. So then we'll move on to the add step. Okay, the addition step, we want to add or subtract something from both sides that will help us reach our goal of rho on a side by itself. We have -5 rho plus 4. Will getting rid of the -5 be part of our addition step of equality? No, because it's multiplication right here, right? But this is adding 4, so we can use the addition property of equality to add -4 to both sides. And we will have this cancel out, so all we have is 5 rho, oops, not Q, rho, 5 rho equals 15. All right, and then after we do the addition property, we can look to see if there's anything else we need to add or subtract. That was it, so we're going to move on to the multiplication property of equality. This is -5 times rho, so the opposite of 5 times rho is dividing, so we're going to divide both sides by -5, so the -5s will cancel out. So we have rho equals 15 divided by -5 is -3. Great. Let's look at another one. 6L plus 7 equals -8 plus 3L. Okay, same steps, simplify both sides if we can. In this case, each side is already simplified as much as possible. So then we're going to move on to the addition property of equality, which tells us we can add something to both sides. So we are going to try to add, how about we add -3L to both sides? That way we can get rid of this L and move it over here. Okay, -3L to both sides. So it's the opposite of positive 3L, -3L. So then we have 3L on this side, and we don't have any L's on this side. All right, plus 7 minus 8. All right, now we have 3L here, so we're going to get rid of this 7. Okay, move the 7 over here. That way we can just have L's on this side and no other numbers. Okay, that will make this cancel out. So we have 3L equals -15. And there's no more adding or subtracting going on. So we just have 3L, 3 times L equals 15. So we're going to move on to the multiplication property, which tells us we can multiply or divide by the same thing on both sides. We will divide by 3 on both sides. That way we can get L equals -15 divided by 3 is -5. All right. Let's look at another one. This one's much more complicated looking, but it's still the same steps. Okay, simplify both sides. So we need to distribute here. Leave the 2, then -3 times 2 is -6. -3 times 6z is -18z. Don't forget to bring the negative with you whenever you multiply. Okay, and then 4 times z is 4z. 4 times 1 is 4. And then minus 8. All right, we will add like terms. We have some like terms we can add. Okay, this is like terms with this. Okay, it's also like terms with this, but this is on the other side of the equal sign. We're dealing with each side separately for now, so don't add those. This is like terms with this. Okay, so we're going to add those. All right, so -4 minus 18z equals 4z minus 4. Okay, Let's go ahead and start by adding 4. So after we do the simplify step, we're going to move on to the addition step of equality. We're going to add 4 to both sides. Let's go ahead and add 4 to both sides. Add 4. So the 4's cancel. We just have negative 18z equals 4z. Alright, now let's subtract 4z from both sides or add 18z, either way, okay? So we're still on this addition step right here. So let's go ahead and add 18, so we'll stay positive. Add 18z to both sides. So this will cancel out. We will have 0 on this side equals 22z. Okay, lastly, we're going to use the multiplication step. Okay, the multiplication property tells us we can multiply or divide on both sides, so we are going to divide by 22. That way we can get rid of it, and we just have z now by itself on this side of the equation. And over here we have 0 over 22, which is 0. Okay, 0 over anything is 0, but 1 or any number over 0 is undefined. Okay, so don't get confused about that. Can't divide by 0, but we can have 0 on top of a fraction. Alright, what if we have coefficients that are fractions? Okay, it works the exact same way. Nothing new or different about it. But sometimes fractions can be a little bit cumbersome, and so if you want, we can get rid of the fractions by multiplying through by the least common denominator. So the common denominator in this case, we have 2, we have 8, we have 4, and this one is 1. So the common denominator is actually 8. So we're going to multiply by 8 on both sides. Okay, let's multiply by 8 on both sides. So 8 times 8 times 8. Distribute the 8 all the way through to each term. Okay, what happens when we multiply by 8 here? 8 cancels with 2, and we get 1 and 4. So 4 times x is 4x. What about here? 8 cancels with 8, and we just have 1 and 1, so this is just plus 5x. And what about here? 8 over 1, 8 cancels with 4, we get 1 and 2. 2 times 3 is 6x. And then here, we don't have any denominator for it to cancel with, so 8 times 6 is negative 48. Alright, good. Okay, now we have an equation that you know how to solve that doesn't have any denominators or any fractions in it. So just like we did before, we're going to do the same steps, simplify both sides. We can add some like terms right here. Okay, and then we can use the addition step to subtract 6x from both sides. Okay, so we get 3x equals negative 48. Then we can use the multiplication step to divide both sides by 3. Okay, so x equals negative 16. Great.